done it! I cannot believe it! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello everyone, we're the Through and Goal podcast where we talk about football and pretty much nothing else. My name is Sam and I'm joined by always as my co-host and very best friend in the world, Elliot. Hello Elliot.
Hello Sam.
I brought that back by popular demand.
Yes.
I got some
Got some hate.
No, yeah, someone didn't like me for doing that. It's like he didn't call you your best friend. So there you go. You're my best friend in the world, Elliot. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. There's nothing really much to say, to be honest. Now we're working and...
Yeah. It's still just as depressing on the pitch as it always has been, but you get used to it as a Hull City fan, so...
Yeah, I've got no... Obviously, watching Spurs, we've got no real football to watch.
Yeah.
So, I guess I've kind of been cruising. Wait until next season, though. No doubt I will be disappointed. I think we start the podcast in... Obviously, a little bit of a sombre way. Member of the 1966 World Cup winning squad, Jack Charlton, sadly passed away. Most notably played for Leeds like his whole career.
Yeah.
Then went on to manage a few, Newcastle and Middlesbrough, but he's most notable for being the Republic of Ireland manager and getting them to 3 major tournaments in a row. I mean, that's some feat.
Yeah.
I feel like he's probably one of the only people ever to be liked by English and Irish.
Irish, yeah.
He's kind of got that link to both, if you know what I mean. He's kind of like got that Brian Clough kind of between Derby and Nottingham.
And particularly as at that time it was quite a difficult time for Ireland, but...
Yes.
But yeah, so I heard a fantastic story about him yesterday, which was when he used to go into a pub and order a pint, he'd always pay by cheque because he'd know that cheque would never get cashed. They'd always want to keep that cheque framed for this was the cheque that we received from Jack Charlton. So he never paid for a pint in his life.
He never paid for a pint.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, there you go. Those pubs have got those cheques framed, though, so
Yeah.
who's the real winner? Just thought we'd start the podcast. I was just mentioning that. From what the interviews that I've seen with players that played under him and knew him, he's just a football man. Yeah. I saw Graham Souness on Sky Sports was talking about how you always have that one person that you meet in your life at that right time.
Yeah.
And his was Jack Charlton, so very high praise there.
Yeah.
So I think we'll move on to the football this week. I think there's no better place to start than a North London derby. Tottenham in recent weeks have not looked... I mean, they won against Everton 1-0. Yeah. Lost 3-0 to Sheffield United. Oof. They needed this win.
Yeah.
They needed this. And I think most of all, Mourinho needed this win.
Yeah, it started to feel like there was kind of a bit of pressure. People aren't liking his style of play. There's rumours of upsets with players and everything like that. And yeah, Mourinho needed this 3 points. First win over Arsenal, the first North London derby at Tottenham's new ground. It's a big win. It puts them above Arsenal now.
Yeah, it's difficult. Obviously, on the back of the Amazon trailer being released as well. And what was the quote? Only time will tell if this is the correct decision. And you're like, the timing of this trailer. It's just, who's ever done the marketing for this? He knows exactly what he's doing.
It's going to be, for anyone who's not a Tottenham fan, it's going to be a hell of a watch, that documentary.
I think it will be a watch for even the Spurs fans seeing all that behind the scene. I think it'll be just seeing how broken the club is.
Obviously earlier in the club, even before there was the Pochettino-Mourinho sort of happening, there was the fallout between, was it Alderweireld and Eriksson, and I want to see like that whole sort of dynamic. It didn't seem like a very happy changing room at that stage.
No. So that's on Amazon soon. Can't wait for that. Yeah. No, Lacazette's goal.
You can't do anything about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you can't do anything with that.
Poor, as I said, it's just picked up the ball. Or he lost the ball, picked it up, just walloped it.
Yeah.
Walloped, I think, is the only real way I can say that.
I think I described that at the time as he just walloped it. Yeah.
It's just incredible goal.
Yeah, absolute hit it like thunder.
Yeah. And of all players to pass back to, or of all players to misplace a pass to, shall we say, it had to be David Luiz, didn't it?
Oh, of course it did. Of course it did.
take nothing away from Son, his anticipation and awareness to run onto the ball and still take it round and chip it over Martinez was very, very good. But why is he passing backwards in that moment as well? That's what I didn't understand.
Just looks like he
had quite a few plays ahead of him.
Blindly passed it, not looked to where David Luiz was. And in fairness, David Luiz couldn't have really done a lot. And I think it was Alan Smith said at the time, he's had enough cards from taking down players, last man, that kind of thing. You can understand why he didn't take down Son, but it was just a bit of a mess. I mean, Arsenal fans listening, we did warn you, it will be back to normal.
Yes. End of last week, back to normal next week. And of all teams to go back to normal to, it's Tottenham.
Yeah.
And obviously Son delivering the corner into Alderweireld, nice cushion header into the corner there. Tottenham didn't make their first sub, I think, until like the 79th minute, which is, wow,
right.
That's a long time.
Yeah, okay. You'd expect Jose to be making subs on like 20th minute just because he's bored, wouldn't you? But yeah, leaving it that late. Yeah.
And interestingly enough, since the restart, pretty much since Mourinho's come in Ndombele, he's not got
He's just not played.
He's just not getting any game time.
Yeah,
what's he done?
There's rumours of a fallout between Mourinho and there is always, wherever Mourinho goes, there's always a player. Fallout. I remember at Real Madrid, he started the downfall for Casillas. I think he fell out with Sergio Ramos, and it just seems to be everywhere he goes, he upsets people. Luke Shaw at United, but
Pogba as well. He was quite critical of Pogba too.
But who knows with Ndombele, because of what I've seen of him, he's a very good player and should be playing.
Powerful, yes, very, very good. There were questions of his fitness as well. I know before the lockdown, it seemed like he came on, ran about 20 yards and was out of breath. It doesn't help his case. He does. It's Tottenham's record signing as well. You'd expect more from him. Yeah, I guess only the Amazon documentary would tell us exactly if there's a fallout or not between them. But you can't deny, as said, that Mourinho and Tottenham desperately needed this win. They really, you see in Tottenham Twitter after the game is something else. But Arsenal would be exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the fact that Arsenal Fan TV are doing live watch-alongs. It was...
I've obviously seen the clips on Twitter, and my first thought is these are grown men.
What? It was who came up with that idea, and who thought, this would be fun. This would be good for people to watch. They're already a meme as it is, but I think they play off that.
But the thing is, it's genius because they are making absolute killings on YouTube ad revenue.
Gotcha.
So
well done. But no, going on to obviously, you see Tottenham, good win, good strong win there. Weren't so lucky with VAR. VAR hasn't been everybody's best friend this week. Yes. Hasn't been Tottenham's. Hasn't been Villa's, hasn't been Southampton's.
Yes.
What's going on there? Last week we were like, no, VAR, wasn't the problem. It was the handball rule. This week, VAR was the problem.
Yeah. So, first of all, with Tottenham drawing against Bournemouth, you can't pin the blame entirely at VAR because Tottenham just didn't turn up. They had no shots on target. But, yeah, there was a blatant penalty, which at the time was not awarded. It was a push on Harry Kane. At the time wasn't awarded. VAR had a look at it and didn't overturn it. No penalty. Then you go into the United versus Villa game, the one that's probably been shown the most. Bruno Fernandes turns into Konsa. And if anything, it should probably be a free kick the other way. If you look at it...
His studs are over, yeah.
Yeah, it could even be a card. But the referee gives a penalty, and at first glance, at full speed, you can see why he's given the penalty. But when you look at it on VAR, you think, no, not a chance. Again, not overruled. Ward-Prowse, they awarded the penalty for Southampton against Everton. It hit the bar, so no damage done. But he was already falling before the challenge came in, so it really shouldn't have been a penalty. It was another one which wasn't overruled. It was given by the match referee, wasn't overruled, and that's the same with all three of those. That whoever's doing the VAR has bottled overruling what's been given on the pitch. And it should be down to the match referee to decide the decisions of the match he is refereeing. They've got a screen on the side and they've got it for a reason, so why don't they use it?
I don't get the absolute lack of the screens. That's one thing that I have never gotten with VAR. That it's been used a couple of times, and when it's been used, like you think, well done. He's got the right decision there. He's double checked. Because the referee is obviously going to say, yes, that's a penalty. Mm-hmm. And if VAR are not telling him otherwise, then I guess he has no reason to go to the screens, because if VAR have given that as a penalty, then the referee's obviously in his mind going, that's right.
Yeah.
So obviously VAR have not gone to the refs going, right, Kane was pushed there. Now, I don't know if he was full. Take a look. I think this is a pen. Obviously, you didn't see it. Have a look. Do you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, in each of these situations, VAR have seen Kane being pushed. VAR have seen Fernandes going over onto Konsa and Ward-Prowse already falling. But they've not said anything to the ref going, have a look at the screen here.
Yeah.
Because the referee's obviously thinking, I'm right.
So the actual term VAR stands for Video Assisted Referee. And it's not... They may as well take the A out, because it's not assisting the referee. It's refereeing the game rather than the referee.
It's what... did you see Robertson when he came off the pitch? When they drew...
Yes.
Some choice words, let's be honest. But one of the main things he says is, why are you even here? Like, why are you even here then? It's
Yeah.
like,
No.
I get it. I just did not expect it to be this poor.
No, I know.
VAR.
And it's worth noting that on those 3 occasions that we've mentioned, the Premier League came out and said these were wrong decisions. This isn't our opinions. This isn't what they think of Sky Sports. The Premier League came out with a statement and said these 3 decisions in 3 separate games on the same evening were all wrong decisions.
I can't. And speaking of the handball rule, very quickly, did you see Sakho's goal for Palace get ruled out? I class that as shoulder. Remember when Balotelli hit the crossbar or something like that, hit the post, or keeper saved it, went up in the air, and just shouldered it in?
Yeah.
Today, that's ruled out for handball.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's pathetic, absolutely pathetic. Yes, I know that rule is changing. Well, the handball rule still applies, but maybe obviously where you said the sleeve is no longer affected by it. But I still think it's the most pathetic thing in the world. You listen to last week if you want to hear my rant on handball rule. I can't do it again. Yeah, I'm already going grey. But
going from 3 decisions that didn't get overturned to 1 decision that did, Aston Villa thought they had a penalty today, and then you watch it back and Jack Grealish, if you're listening, what are you doing, son?
Jack Grealish, if you're listening, tell all your friends. Through on goal every Tuesday you get your podcast. But at the same time, what is he? That is one of the most pathetic dives. Why? And here's another thing with VAR here. Why is he not going back and going, well, you dived, here's a booking?
Yeah. No, that's a strange one for me. But that is... So there's the
He's deceived the ref because the ref has given it.
Yeah.
He's full on deceived the ref. So why is he now not getting a yellow card for that?
Yes. And you've seen people not get yellow cards before because they haven't appealed for the penalty. But he's thrown himself down. He's thrown his hands in the air.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
But the
more you look at it.
There is the stat that Jack Grealish is the most fouled player in the Premier League. Now, how many of those are really fouls?
Do you think he plays on that?
I think he probably does, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no,
he really baits them into fouls. And I reckon if he plays for England and does that against someone you hate, like a Ramos or you're probably going, Grealish, you absolute. But it's just pathetic to watch.
It's the kind of thing, if he did that against England, most people know I'm not a fan of Jack Grealish, but I'm also not a fan of Jesse Lingard. But when Lingard played for England, I'd support him as if he was one of my own.
Speaking of Villa, Aston Villa have won a league game on all 7 days of the week this season, becoming the first Premier League side to achieve this in a campaign.
Wow.
Now, you say wow, but here's the more wow. They've won a league game on all 7 days of the week, and they've won 8 games all season.
I was going to say if they only won 7, but wow. Yeah.
That's so impressive. What?
Okay, yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they've all won a game, but they've won 1 more game than that. I don't know what day, I didn't bother looking it up. I don't think it was that important, but I just thought every single day of the week, and they've only won 8 games. That's quite impressive. Get that in the trophy cabinet, I say.
I'm quite good at my stats normally, but I haven't heard that one before. But as we're going on stats, Wolves won today, and they became the first club in English football to ever win 2 competitive games in the same month of different years in the same season, if that makes sense. So
absolutely not.
So they won Europa League qualifying game in July last year to start their season, and they've now won in July this year, and it's still the same season. So yeah, sorry, I've butchered that, but hopefully that'll make sense now.
No, that made sense. Wolves obviously still fighting for that Europa League spot.
Yes.
Can't really say too much more there. Since we're on stats, we're stats mad today, Elliot. Stats mad today. Since August 2015, Dimitri Payet has created 28 more chances than any other West Ham player, and he left in January 2017.
That's phenomenal, isn't it?
Obviously, I say that stat coming on to, Antonio 4, Norwich 0.
Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks ago, we were both saying, where are the goals coming from for West Ham? Well, you showed us, Mikael, if you're listening.
Well, yeah, and if you're listening, tell all your friends. We're on Goal Podcast every Tuesday. But I'm pretty sure David Moyes in that game started with 3 defensive midfielders.
He was playing Mark Noble as central attacking midfielder.
Right.
You know the natural playmaker that is Mark Noble.
Yeah, I mean, why has he never got an England call-up? I don't know. Maybe that's why, because he's been playing out of position this whole time. Yeah. But a high for Antonio scoring 4, Norwich have been officially relegated from the Premier League. Mm-hmm. Also, another stat. We love our stats. They are now the most relegated team from the Premier League.
Yes, now 5 times, isn't it?
5 times.
Yeah.
Now, I remember saying in a podcast not long ago that they were probably one of the best teams to be relegated because they were quite good to watch. Now, if people are listening to that, if they right, I take some of that back.
Are you going to put out a statement?
I am putting out a statement here. Mark it. It's 8:30 on a Sunday evening. My name is Sam, and I'm about to release a statement. Norwich are not very good, and I'm very sorry.
Yeah, you'd.
Well, they weren't. Oh my god! Right. So what was it? I said yesterday. I remember saying to you yesterday. You came up for my baby shower. Yeah. On the 14th of September. Yeah. Norwich beat Man City. Since then, they've won 2 games.
I don't think Hull City can challenge that stat.
They won against Everton and they won against Bournemouth. Oh, they won against Leicester. Sorry, I do apologise. I lied to you, Elliot. I don't mean to lie. They won 3 games.
They won 3 games.
They won 3. Still not dramatically improved stat, but it's a shocking statistic. And when you watched them yesterday, they knew it, didn't they? They knew they're down.
Since they've come back from lockdown restarting, they just look like they are prepared for Championship. There's been no fight ever since. I've watched a couple of their games, and there's been no desire to stay in the league.
Elliot, I've got another stat.
Okay.
I'm full of them today. The reason why I got this stat is because I've literally just checked the Bournemouth score.
Right.
Bournemouth are now leading Leicester 2-1.
Oh, wow. Last I saw was 1-0.
Well, one of the reasons I was going to come onto this game, I wasn't going to mention it because I didn't think it was worth mentioning, but this stat. Solanke has 2 goals in his last 70 games. Scrap that. He's now got 3 goals in his last 70 games. He's just scored, apparently. Good on him. They spent 19 million on him. Yeah.
You've just got to hope he's the kind of player that can kind of regain a bit of his earlier form in the Championship and just kind of get a bit of confidence back.
When you say earlier form...
England under 21.
That's club level. I've never seen him before.
I remember him scoring a hat-trick for the England under 21s, which he finished off with a back heel.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, he was Chelsea youngster, and then Liverpool signed him. Then Liverpool really do anything, and then Bournemouth signed him. Hasn't really done anything.
Enormous amounts of money. Yeah.
You don't like seeing players like that not do well. I'm not 100% sure why Eddie Howe's he's still sticking with him.
Yeah.
After 70 games, you've got to think, maybe you're not very good. Maybe I should get someone else in. No, I promise you. It's like that ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. I'll promise you I'll do better next time. I'll give you one more chance. He doesn't do it. Just give me one more chance.
Well, he's had 70 chances.
Yeah, 70 chances. Where do you draw the line? Obviously, let's say, for instance, he played up front for Hull, which, he probably won't be long before he does.
Yeah.
If you had that, and I know Bournemouth fans are not supporting him, obviously, to an extent.
But
you've got to have a different player up front. There's got to be someone in the academy that at least deserves a chance.
You just give him a few minutes. Yeah, I know what you mean. And you think if he's playing in front of Josh King and he's playing in front of Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson not long ago, he was scoring goals. England call up, he even scored. Don't think it was England debut, but he's definitely scored for England.
He's definitely scored for England, yeah, for sure.
No, absolutely. So, as it stands, obviously we want to look at the current Premier League standings on FootMob, not a sponsor yet. Bournemouth it's weird because Last week in the podcast, we said, God, no team in the relegation zone wants to win.
Now they're all winning.
This week, every team's bloody won.
Yeah, so what was it? Watford's turned round from 1-0 down to win 2-1, didn't they?
At
Two
Newcastle,
Troy Deeney
yeah.
penalties. Obviously,
winning
West
4-0,
Ham,
yeah.
well, Antonio. Then Villa winning today, and seemingly
Bournemouth currently
looking like
winning.
Bournemouth might get a big win as well. But obviously, with Leicester losing as it stands, that could have big implications in the top 4, top 5 race.
Literally just about to come on to that, because as it stands, if Man United beat Southampton tomorrow, obviously everyone listening to this will know what the result is, but at time of recording, they do beat them tomorrow, Monday. Man United are in the top 4. Never saw that coming at the beginning of lockdown. Yeah.
We've got to say, though, it won't be a pushover for United, because Southampton last weekend, we had to record slightly earlier than usual, so we didn't mention the...
No, we didn't. I was in the car on the way to picking up Lana and Jacob, and I just had the radio on it. It was like, oh yeah, Che Adams. Oh, Che Adams. And I'm like, hold
absolute
on.
incredible
First off,
goal.
Che Adams. And then when you watch the goal back, I'm like, so he scores his first goal in the league for Southampton, and he does that.
But then,
That deserved a crowd.
obviously, he scored a fantastic goal to what eventually won the game, but the person who actually really won the game was Alex McCarthy. What a performance he had in goal. He was
Match of the day, obviously.
he was
That's what I
unbeatable.
reckon.
He was unbeatable that day.
From what I've read and from what I've seen on highlights, they were just well set up. Southampton, very, very good.
Definitely. And obviously there was another big game in the European race this weekend with Chelsea against Sheffield United. Dave
Yeah, what happened
McGoldrick,
there?
another striker who hadn't scored in forever, scores twice.
Yeah, the first one I feel like was quite unlucky on Kepa because it took 2 deflections. And fair play, like he still managed to get down to save it, but nothing you can do there.
Yeah.
Goldrick comes in, and then obviously poor marking for the second and the third as well. So Sheffield United are still looking into that. I wrote them off at the beginning when they lost due to Aston Villa and lost. Yeah.
It seemed like that they were starting to slide a little bit, but yeah, they've got a couple of big wins because they beat Wolves midweek, didn't they?
Yes, and that was Big John Egan.
Big John Egan, yeah. They're looking well on course for a European place again now.
Yeah, I can't believe how much they turned out. Fair play. Like I said, I semi-wrote them off. I was just like, oh, well, they're probably going to slip down to about mid-table. Yeah. But no, they're straight back up. Proof why they are difficult to, like, especially at Bramwell Lane. So hopefully, when fans do come back and when it's safe to do so, if that is in time for their first European game at Bramwell Lane, then that'll be a game to watch because the atmosphere will be absolutely bouncing. But no, fair enough.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to say because there's talk this week that the extra subs could be coming back for next season's football, but not the water breaks. So you said we're stats galore tonight, and I've got another stat. So regarding the extra subs, 4th and 5th subs, there's interesting stat that in the whole time that they've been used in the Premier League so far, there hasn't been a goal or an assist made by a 4th or 5th sub that has actually affected the outcome of the game. No equalising goal, no winning goal has been scored or assisted by a 4th or 5th sub yet.
Well, that's quite interesting. Do you know what? I'd never even thought of that.
As of yet, it's not actually having an impact.
Right. Obviously fitness-wise, but yeah,
in terms of
the
actual
game-wise,
points, yeah. And then on the water breaks, so they're increasingly becoming less and less about water breaks and coming more and more about tactical breaks. And I think the biggest sort of example of that so far was shown this week when Charlton were beating Brentford going into the water break. Obviously would have had huge effects at both ends of the table. And the Brentford manager's out there in the water break. He's got one of those tactical boards.
He's got the whiteboard, hasn't he? Yeah.
And fair play to him because whatever he said, it worked because Brentford turned it around and got a big win there. They won it 2-1. But it's becoming a game of 4 quarters.
Yes, no, I agree with that. I think Gary Neville is probably one of the most cynical people when it comes to the water break. He just doesn't see the point in it. He always mentions it's about 13 degrees. Why they having a water break? I get it. They're back now. I feel like they've had enough game time for the fitness levels to at least be at where they need to be, especially if you've still got 5 subs.
See, I think what they should do with that, really, with the water breaks, is that every Premier League stadium, they're filled with technology, millions and millions of pounds of technology into every single stadium. I reckon they should go down B&M, get a thermometer for about £3 and And if when it's approaching the 67th or 23rd minute or whenever it is that they have these water breaks, it's over a certain temperature, say 25 degrees for argument's sake, the fourth official just says to the ref, we're going to have a water break.
Okay. I mean, I feel like when it goes over a certain temperature, they have a water break anyway, don't they?
Yeah, but it just seems excessive at the moment.
Oh, it's so excessive, yeah. It is definitely a 4-quarter game. It's like we're watching the NFL, but at a bit of a quicker pace.
Yeah.
Want to come on to the Championship. Obviously, you mentioned Brentford there. Another big win against Derby. Ben Rama is just ridiculous. When I watched him play... Oof.
I messaged you during the game saying that he's the best player in the league. He's
Brentford, I think, 100%.
He's so technically gifted, and I expect Brentford to be playing Premier League football next season, but if they're not, he will be.
Yes, Chelsea are probably the ones that are heavily linked with him at this point in time. Just the way that they were playing against it is so fluid, it's so quick. I think if they do go up, then I reckon they're staying up. If they play like that, I definitely think they'll stay up.
The one thing that I'd be maybe slightly worried about for them is that I don't want them to suffer the Norwich syndrome of attacking every team they play. Just to a certain extent that you lose against the big teams, but they are third in the league, and there are 2 teams above them. But I think they're the best team in the league, particularly at the moment.
Well, you say that. Obviously, 2 teams above them. However, they are only 3 points off West Brom.
Yeah, there's some big games coming up still.
Yeah, so it's if they don't go up automatically, I think they're a shoo-in to win the playoffs. I think.
Yeah, they'll be the team that everyone would want to be avoiding in that playoffs.
Yes, definitely. I mean, currently it's 6th, isn't it? It's 3rd v 6th and 3rd v 4th. That's how the playoff works, isn't it?
3rd v 6th, 4th v 5th, yeah.
So right now it'd be Brentford v potentially Cardiff, and Cardiff are winning that.
Just send
no
them to Wembley.
disrespect to Cardiff, but
yeah.
It could still be looking at the from 6th down to 12th. There's only 4 points in it.
Yeah.
So currently it could be Brentford versus either Cardiff, Swansea, Preston, Millwall, Derby, or Bristol City. And I just think
out of any of them, you just think Brentford.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's looking like Forest versus Fulham for that middle game, isn't it?
Yeah.
That would be slightly harder to call, but I'd still fancy Brentford over either of them.
In the final, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously if they do go up, it's a shame that Griffin Park won't be a Premier League stadium. Obviously we have mentioned it in the past.
Yeah.
Obviously they're going into their new stadium, but what a way to send off.
No, exactly.
Yeah, great way to send off.
Just obviously a shame the fans couldn't be there to celebrate it.
4 points in 3 games is all Leeds United need to get back to the Premier League after 16 years. They can't bottle. I mean, Leeds. They surely cannot bottle this.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be chance of Leeds falling apart again quite this season.
As much as you want to get it loaded up on your phone there, Elliot, I see it.
It's been a tricky season for Hull fans, but that will just be the cherry on the top of the extremely disappointed cake.
What Leeds promoted the same time Hull are relegated. That's
that'll be a tough one to take.
We'll come on to Hull in a second because I think you've got a couple of words to say. But yes. I mean, you did literally offer yourself to manage them, but we'll get back to that in a second.
I did do that, yes.
No, it's Hernandez. I've seen a lot of Leeds fans on Twitter since Leeds have gone down to potentially going back up. I know pretty much every Leeds fan that I've seen on Twitter has said that Pablo Hernandez is the best player to ever play for Leeds in the time they went
space
down to going back up. And I can't think of really too many more players in that space of time as influential as he has.
I'm trying to think of players that have come and gone, and the only one that kind of pops to my mind is maybe I think Chris Wood was there now at Burnley, but yeah, Pablo Hernandez is a fantastic player. And obviously he played for Swansea in the past, and he always seemed okay, but I didn't really see him as any kind of world beater. But he seems to be Leeds' best player by a distance.
No, and his celebration obviously told the tale, didn't it? It was
it's a big goal.
Proper emotional. Yeah. So I mean, I can't say. Obviously, I've got no ill feelings towards Leeds. Obviously, I know we try and keep it non-biased on this podcast.
Yeah.
I know sometimes we might let something slip, but at the end of the day, we've got to give credit where credit is due, and Leeds have just been phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to see what they do next season. Again, I can't really call it too much based on. I don't think they're going to be a Sheffield United.
No.
But I think they'll stay up.
So I don't want this to come across with any sort of bias, but I don't see them staying up without quite a lot of funding, really. I think they've got the kind of core of a good team. They've maybe got 4, 5, 6 players tops for a starting 11 in the Premier League, but I think that they do need still quite a lot to cement a Premier League spot.
Yeah. So, Elliot, Hull City.
Yeah, so you obviously always want your team to put in 110% effort. Now, Hull City are putting in 110% effort, but unfortunately that's collectively. Each player is putting in about 10% effort, and there is absolutely no fight in this team. There's no desire. The players aren't doing the first thing you've got to do when you go into a football ground, and that's play for the badge. And they're not doing that. They just seem so disinterested, and you can tell why we sent letters saying, let's void the season, because the players aren't interested, the manager's not interested, the owner's not interested. I don't think that the fans are losing their love for the club, really. It's a shame to see, but that's what happens when it gets neglected by poor owners.
No, I'm seeing it from obviously a more of a mutual perspective. Especially the owner situation. It's shocking, absolutely shocking the way it's run, and obviously that Athletic piece that was run, and they released a statement about it. It's just, I said to you a few podcasts ago, do you sack McCann in this with the 7, or I think there at the time there's about 7 games to go?
Yeah.
Get someone new in, and then, just for that final piece, or do you just stick with him, hopefully see out the season? Now, you said something like, I wouldn't mind seeing like a Neil Warnock come in. And obviously he has done that at Middlesbrough.
At Middlesbrough, yeah.
And I mean, Middlesbrough are, as it stands, they're not. I mean, they're still in trouble.
To be honest, I thought he'd have had a bigger impact than he has, but he's had more of an impact than we've had with no change.
What, in your opinion, what exactly needs to change?
It all starts at the top, really. You need new owners who need to re-engage the fans, and at that stage you need new manager, and you really need to go around every individual in that dressing room and saying, do you want it? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to play for this club? Because relatively recently we've been a sizable club. We've had cup final at Wembley, we've played in Europe, we've beaten Liverpool, we've we've had some massive wins, and we've had some big days out, and it looks like it's all going to be for nothing. And the Alam ownership, which at one time was a positive, they're now taking us back further than when they bought us.
Putting you on the spot.
Yep.
Who'd you get in manager-wise?
Manager-wise, with Warnock out of the picture now, on the spot.
I hear Ali Kirbishley's available.
I hear Ian Dowie's also still available, but I don't want him. On the spot, the only name that kind of screams out to me is maybe a Tony Pulis. You just need to go back to basics, and you just need to fight for the badge.
And it's a shame. Obviously, I've been to my fair few Hull away games, and there's still passion, there's still love for the club, but it's just there's only so much you can take, isn't there? There's only so much you can just get beaten down,
and there is a chance that come Saturday we could be relegated. All it takes is for us to lose to Wigan midweek, for Luton to beat QPR, Luton to beat us next Saturday, and for a couple of teams above us to just get the odd point here or there in those 2 games.
And you've got 3 games left, really.
I think going into the Millwall game we had 2 winnable games. We now have 1, and I think we need 4 points to stay up, and I can't see that happening.
No. One thing about you though, Elliot, I've got to say, and people can't see this because obviously we record the podcast. We have got no time for video. Maybe in the future some point. But every single episode, Elliot wears his whole shirt. Yeah. In the chat, it's always a different one as well. I don't think I've actually seen him wear the same one twice. But he always wears his whole shirt. And he's always texting me. He's always And obviously, I would just like to read Hull City. If you are listening, obviously tell your friends and tell the club.
You might want to skip out the first couple of words.
I might skip out the first couple of words because I like the fact that we've generally kept this fairly PG, and your Twitter account is not PG at times.
Not always. Not when it comes to Hull City.
But just to let you know, Hull City, that Elliot's DMs are currently open. He's never managed a football team in his life. He has no qualifications. That would mean he would be any sort of success as a manager, and for that reason, he feels like he's the perfect candidate for the job. So hit him up. Obviously, speak to,
Did I not add one more line? What was it? How much worse could it possibly be, or something like that?
Oh, yes, you did say that. Also, how much worse could it really be?
Yeah. So at the moment, since January the 2nd, which currently is 192 days, Hull City have picked up the grand total of 5 points.
Oh my word!
And we need four. We
dear.
need 4 to stay up. So if you gave us 7, if you gave us about 7 months, we might be all right.
Yeah, he won't last.
Yes.
When the season's finished, I think McCann's gone. Personally, I think.
So yeah, people who follow me may well have also noticed I tweeted, is there any other club in the country that would still be stuck by their manager when they've picked up 5 points in 17 matches?
Norwich.
Okay, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. Norwich, I think that's it, really.
Yeah.
Borderline Bournemouth. But, Dean Smith at Villa as well, pretty much. I think they've...
Yeah.
We'll probably discuss that
this
week. But Heart of Hearts, right now, before we move on, just to the... before the segment. Yeah. Well, the bit before the segment. Heart of Hearts right now, Elliot, are Hull relegated. One word answer.
One word answer, yes. Find it hard to come back from this.
Well, we'll find the next couple of episodes will be very interesting.
Yes.
Quick build up to the playoff final, which again, when you're listening to this, you will already know who's gone up. But obviously at time of recording, it's technically tomorrow. But for you, it was yesterday.
We're talking at you from the past.
Beauty of recording this on a Sunday and releasing it on the Tuesday. There's that void of Monday that is just... Not going to lie, this is definitely a playoff final that I don't think anyone really predicted. I think everyone kind of saw a Portsmouth, potentially Fleetwood or Oxford Fleetwood final, but Wickham have just... I can't describe it. I'm not even going to predict who I think is going to go up, because every time I do, it's gone.
Because the thing is, on this podcast so far, we are awful at predicting. So if you predict Wickham and I predict Oxford, somehow no teams will get promoted.
Portsmouth will go up.
Yeah, Portsmouth will go up. Peterborough will go up because they made such a fuss about it. But yeah, I think this is a case of 2 teams, particularly Wickham, massively overachieving and on the verge of an incredible promotion.
Championship football. 1 league off the Premier League, Wickham could potentially be.
Yeah, I think everyone really had Wickham to go down this season. Potentially bottom, potentially record low points, that kind of thing. But Gareth Ainsworth, we've spoken about him before. He's done a fantastic job at Wickham.
I can't. There's just no words to really describe the job he's done. It's absolutely phenomenal.
If he manages to pull this off, he should be given freedom of the city or whatever the highest honour is in High Wycombe. He should be given it.
Obviously, I've still got a lot of love for Wickham. Obviously, spent 5 years of my life there. Obviously, I met Lana there, so still a big part of my life. And I still message my old manager from where I used to work. She's a massive Wickham fan. And we still message, we still talk about football. We still talk about Wickham. I know she's dreading it. But it's it's a weird world we live in when Wickham could be in a division higher than Hull, Sunderland, Portsmouth.
I remember a few years ago, we went up midweek for Wickham against Aston Villa at Villa Park in the FA Cup. Was it 3rd round replay or 4th round replay or whatever it was?
You're the only Wickham quotation marks, only Wickham fan shouted abuse at Jack Grealish.
All game. I think I got tutted a few times.
If I had £1 for every time you shouted kick him, we would be on the floor.
So we went there, cup replay. It was a massive occasion for Wickham. That could well be a league game next season.
That's mental, isn't it? That's absolutely mental. As I said, I was talking to Lana about this not long ago. I was at the Wickham v Southend. I think it was League 2 playoff final.
Right,
Wickham,
yes, I remember the time.
We're 2-1 up, and then obviously Southend scored that very late equaliser. And Dan Bentley was in goal. I think that's when he was getting a lot of love from people when Wickham lost it on penalties. But when you look at what's happened to both clubs since that final, Wickham are they're literally so close to, and I don't want it to sound like we're just talking about Wickham. Oxford have had a phenomenal season to be in the playoffs, and
also they were unlucky to go out to Newcastle in the FA Cup, remember? St Maximin with a fantastic goal to win it that day.
No, that's right. And when you look at Oxford's form going into obviously the playoffs, quotation playoffs, they'd won 1, 2, 3, 4, they'd won 5 on the bounce, conceding 3. They lost, they had a couple of lost games. They drew 1-1 to Gillingham, not Soz, but they finished before obviously Wickham took it. They finished 3rd, and they were 2 points off automatic over where Rotherham are.
Yeah.
That's amazing for Oxford. So considering one of their stands is a car park.
No, it's been a hell of a season for both teams, and obviously
I can't
Oxford.
call it.
Yeah, Oxford beat who were quite a lot of people's favourites, Portsmouth, but then Wickham had that freak game in the first leg. So yeah, I honestly can't call it, and I don't want to call it.
No, I'm not going to call it. We will find out. Obviously, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Also, what I quite like about it is it's a bit of a derby, isn't it? Wickham and Oxford, only about half an hour away.
Yeah, and they're probably, besides Watford, probably the two closest teams to Wembley. Yeah. Just straight down the motorway into London.
Yeah,
and you're at Wembley.
Not very far
straight
away.
Straight down the M40, yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to this. I'm quite excited for that. That's going to be a really good game.
So on this week's European Roundup, it's only quite a short one, start in Germany, where Werder Bremen stay up with a late goal in the relegation playoff against Heidenheim, I think they're called. And they stay up in the Bundesliga for the 57th consecutive season, but they came so close to going down.
Yeah, that's impressive. 57th straight season in the Bundesliga. Yeah. They did it very dramatically. Heidenheim, that's the most German-sounding football club name I've ever heard in my life, by the way. Just wanted to say that first. But no, I know someone told us about that, didn't they?
And then one more thing, 2 words. Gareth Bale.
He just does not care anymore, does he?
Yeah. So Zidane made his 5th sub, which wasn't him. So he just smiled, laid back in his seat, and put his face mask over his eyes and had a quick nap. He couldn't care less.
He doesn't care, does he? Do you reckon he's off?
I don't know where would take him. It's not simply because of who he is, because I still think he's a cracking player. But his wages, and he's not going to go on a free because Real will demand money for him.
Yeah, and he can be quite injury prone guy. So,
but he's picking up quite sizable check every month. So I'm sure he's all right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet he's getting good at golf. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't learnt Spanish, but boy, can he play golf.
Yeah, golf, por favor.
And I'll go wherever the nearest golf course is, I'm sure.
Yes.
Bournemouth won 4-1.
Wow.
What? Sorry. If this is kept in, we've literally just took a quick break to check the football scores. And Solanke scored twice. That's ruined my stat from before, Elliot. I've got to change the stat.
He's on 4 goals now in 70 games. He's prolific.
Wow. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Remember the name. So, for everyone that follows us on Twitter, TOGO Podcast, please give us a follow. You'll notice that we put up some polls that we wanted you guys to get involved with, your opinions on some, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's probably probably the most opinionated, football talking points that there are. And we wanted to hear your opinions, and we'll obviously give ours, to see what exactly everyone thinks of some controversial football opinions. And we put them out, we got some decent votes, it was quite well received, which was really nice to see. I like that. And what we'll do is we'll go through the polls, we'll read them out, say the winner, and then me and Elliot will obviously discuss who we voted for. And this could be interesting because we are quite opinionated. So I feel like this could be either me and Elliot could agree because we are very like-minded.
Yes.
Or there could be a few times that we don't. So let us start with the first poll that we put out was, where do you stand on the Gerrard, Scholes or Lampard debate? Now that's a hard one to start with. We wanted to let you know early, we're not here to mess around.
Yes.
We want to talk about it now. Steven Gerrard won that vote, 44%. Paul Scholes on 22% and Frank Lampard on 33%. Elliot, what do you think?
So,
right decision?
Judging by my vote, yes, I voted for Steven Gerrard. I think, although Lampard has obviously scored more goals in his career, and Scholes obviously is a fantastic player. What did it for Gerrard for me is that both Scholes and Lampard have always been surrounded by brilliant players, whereas Gerrard, Liverpool have had some awful seasons where you look back at the squad and you thought, how have these players played for Liverpool? And Gerrard I think is slightly ahead of Lampard and a little way ahead of Scholes for me. What did you think?
Fine, I put Gerrard as well.
Right, okay.
I did. I just think when I'm looking into a squad, who I kind of want as my midfielder, you want someone who can pass, and all three of them can.
Yes.
You want someone who can shoot all three of them can,
Yes.
Like, they can, all three of them score screamers. You kind of want someone that can defend, and I feel like out of the three, that's probably Gerrard's probably strongest.
Yeah,
out of the three, I'd say he's probably stronger.
Lampard's better going forward, and I don't really see Paul Scholes as very mobile at all.
However, you've got to have a leader in your team. Got to have that leader. And as well as Frank Lampard is doing as Chelsea manager, and he did have a few times, but it was always John Terry.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes, I don't really see. Yeah.
He's had captains all around him. He's had Roy Keane.
That's it. And
Giggs,
he didn't really do too well as Oldham manager.
Yeah, he did his talking with the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But Gerrard is that captain, is that leader.
Yeah.
Oh, I think just about pips it for me as well. I think he's kind of got all of them. So okay. Well, okay, we're going.
We've agreed on that one
so fast. This could be.
And so Gerrard did finish first with Lampard second and Paul Scholes last out of those three.
Okay.
So question number 2, we had what is the best Premier League team of all time, with the 4 options being the Arsenal Invincibles, the Man City Centurions, the Liverpool team of this season, or Chelsea 04-05. What did you go for, Sam?
Should we say, yeah, you know what I'm about to say. It's just smiled. The Arsenal Invincibles. The Invincables.
I didn't spot that. Okay.
Not? I thought you did. I read it and I was like, who are Arsenal Invincables? Because on a poll, we kind of did that. So
apologies.
I've never heard of them, so I don't know if they're that good. But
maybe if you pull your weight, Sam. Maybe if you pull your weight, there wouldn't be these mistakes.
I think I came up with that question, didn't I?
I think you may well have, but if you put them on Twitter, there won't be the mistakes. So yeah, who did you go for?
Oh, see, I really struggle with this one.
Right.
Because don't get me wrong, the Invincibles are, a brilliant team, but they did draw a lot, but they still didn't lose. You can't do that. The Man City Centurions were just, you can't, unplayable. Liverpool this season have only lost 2 games this season. I think they've drawn 3 and they've won 30.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's stupidly good. And obviously Chelsea, that team, that 04 team, have the fewest conceded goals in the Premier League season, don't they?
Yes, I think it was 15 off the top of my head.
15.
Might be one out either side, but I think it's 15.
I did, however, go for the Man City team.
Right, okay.
Purely because I think if all those teams were to face each other in their primes, I think that Man City team's winning that. Yeah. I know, obviously, when Liverpool and Man City faced last season, Liverpool did win. I fully acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But I just think,
So I also found it very difficult, but I didn't go with the Centurions. It was out of the Centurions and this one that I picked. And I went with the one that came last. I went with Chelsea 04-05 because Man City side is the best attacking side there's been in the Premier League. But the Chelsea 04-05, to be that disciplined for 38 games, to only concede 15 goals, and I've seen a few of them back, some of them are absolute world-class goals you can't do anything about, I think is a feat that won't be beaten.
No, I hear you. I think to concede the fewest goals in the Premier League, I think that's a very Mourinho stat, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about the manager. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. You've got to be as good defensive at, you've kind of have to shore up your defence to go forward. But they say attacking. Attack is the best form of defence.
Yeah.
And I just think if that Man City team are attacking that Chelsea team, I think Man City are edging it.
It's a tough one. You think it was Terry at his prime, it was Lampard at his prime, it was Petr Cech at his prime. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Drogba as well, when he was starting getting his prime that year.
But for me, it was out of Chelsea and Man City, and I've just edged it Chelsea's way.
No, that's fair enough.
Man City did win the vote, with Liverpool of this season coming second, ahead of the Invincibles, and Chelsea in last.
Yeah, that's right. As much as this is your opinions, these are our opinions as well, so please don't, come at us. We're allowed our own opinions. We go to number 3, and this was probably one of my favourite ones until someone ruined it, and I'll come to that in a second. Number 3 was, if Celtic were to join the Premier League, where would they finish? Europe, upper mid-table, lower mid-table, and relegation fight. Now, quite comfortably, lower mid-table won this, and I also voted lower mid-table. I think they're
Right.
probably about 16th to 12th, maybe.
Right,
I
okay.
wouldn't say high mid-table, maybe
Yeah.
around the 10th, 11th mark. They're probably like an Everton, Southampton for me.
Yeah.
Up until, I think, literally a few hours before the polls ended, absolutely no one voted European places. And I just thought that was hilarious. However, someone did.
Yeah.
But no, quite
No,
comfortably lower mid-table won that. What about you?
So I actually put upper mid-table. I was thinking...
How upper are we thinking?
I'm literally thinking 9th or 10th. Literally top half,
Right.
but bottom of top half. Like, at the moment, those positions are taken by Arsenal and Burnley. Everton in 11th. I was thinking kind of an Everton, really. But if you think Burnley at the moment, Everton-Burnley level, I think that's kind of where they're at. I think they're better than a Palace or a Newcastle at the moment.
Yeah, no, I know, I see that. It's that age-old question, isn't it? That Celtic, and don't get me wrong, Rangers as well. You know, no disrespect to the rest of the Scottish League, but come on now. It's Celtic or Rangers. No, but like Celtic have won how many? 7 in a row or whatever it is, or 9 in a row? Or...
A lot in a row. 9 in a row, I think.
Yeah, I would. There's a part of me that just wants to say, "God, it's a season."
Yeah,
Go on,
just one
prove us
season.
wrong.
Yeah.
Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will. But no, as said, lower mid-table finished first on that one. Upper mid-table, quite a comfortable second with relegation. Relegation was third, so you know a lot
Yeah,
of
with
people think they'll
European.
stay up at least.
Yeah.
And obviously, that one person voting European spot. Good for you, mate. Good for you thinking
But-
Celtic can challenge.
Yeah, you think with Celtic have had some fantastic players in the past, but with no disrespect to them, they make their name in the Premier League. You think of Van Dijk, you think of Wanyama, Fraser Forster, those kind of players. They've made their name in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So question number 4, which seems quite relevant at the moment, is who is England's best young talent? So 4 options: Phil Foden, Mason Greenwood, Jadon Sancho, or Bukayo Saka. So what did you make of that, Sam?
So with this question, I feel like in hindsight, I would have liked to maybe have worded it slightly better.
Right, okay.
Reason being is because who's England's best young talent? Obviously, on that list is Jadon Sancho. I think 100%. But Jadon Sancho has played for England. We know he's probably in that starting lineup with Foden, Greenwood and Saka aren't yet. So I kind of would have maybe have liked to have said, out of who do you think is the highest
Who has the
future
biggest
prospect?
future or the,
Yes, exactly.
the biggest potential?
No, don't get me
Right.
wrong, Jadon Sancho, in that question on that, for me, number one. He's absolutely phenomenal. Even if I do forget him, even if I do
your
forget
Euro
to include him in my Euro squad,
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely brilliant.
So
Foden is such a close second for me, though. Such a close second.
I went with Jadon Sancho, and again, Foden's close, but I think Sancho at this stage is world class. I think given a few years of regular game time for Man City, Foden can be, and Mason Greenwood has shown flashes that he can be.
His finishing is stupid.
But at the moment, I agree with Jadon Sancho, and I do think it's the three of them a distance ahead of Saka, particularly at the moment. But Saka is still worth mentioning. He's extremely creative.
One to look at. I reckon next season Saka will be how we talk about Foden.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
if you get me.
Yeah.
Whether Arteta might give him like proper game time next season, which, you know, would be good to see, because looking at that list, Saka didn't, you know, he finished very comfortably last.
Yeah, so Sancho finished first with Foden slightly behind, maybe closer than I was expecting. Greenwood in third, and yeah, like you say, Saka comfortably last.
Now, Elliot, what would you do with the League Cup? Now, you didn't give us a choice to keep it.
Yeah, no, in hindsight, I really should have had an option to keep it as it is.
No, yeah, of course. But what would you do with the league? Now, we asked if you'd scrap it, exclude the top six, expand it, or the UK Cup, which includes Scotland, England and Wales.
So
What would you put?
I voted for the UK Cup. I think it would be really quite fun. And the one thing I would want with something like that, though, is for it not to be midweek when the League Cup is, but for it to be moved to the weekends with those league games being played midweek. Because I could just see it being so fun. Can you imagine you and a load of mates going to, say, Prestatyn Town away for a weekend in August? And so you have a brilliant weekend away. You watch the football, with the greatest respect to the Welsh League. It's not the strongest in Europe.
It's not, no.
So you'd expect quite a heavy win, and then probably followed by quite a heavy Saturday night.
That idea came from David Moyes, I believe.
Yeah.
He said that he wanted to expand, and I think that genuinely, out of the thoughts that come out of that man's head, recently.
He's had some questionable ones. But...
Yeah. However, having that, I think is I think it's a cracking idea. I'd absolutely love to see it, and that kind of would show a bit of, when it comes to like, how would Celtic do if it is, say, for instance, Celtic get drawn against Southampton.
Yeah.
Or
it'd be a good sort of yardstick for them. Yeah.
But then, if they do bring in that UK Cup, that's a lot of teams.
Yeah,
and if you still want the final in February, or because it's the first
need
one,
an extra round or two.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you bring in qualifying? And then if you do bring in qualifying, do you really want to qualify for this?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But then at the same time, if you're a Plymouth fan, do you really want Aberdeen away in January? Spend a month in the car.
And again, is that TV right? TV wise.
Yeah.
Right, so you got to think. It's Man City have won it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's always good when you see that team, that's lower league team go up against it. And I think there are talks, nothing's confirmed yet, but next season, obviously with Europe being how it is, that they're potentially going to exclude the top six from next season's Capital One Cup. Oh no, Carabao Cup, sorry. I have to change the sponsor every year. Next season. And I think that would be quite a good, interesting thing to see, because I think both top six, I think it benefits both teams, both sets. I think it's a chance for someone in the lower league and bottom half of the Premier League to get European football potentially, and that top six don't have to worry about that extra midweek game that they have to play away to Exeter or...
Yeah, I like the idea of a lower team getting that Europa League spot, but at the same time, you want those League One or League Two clubs getting those big payday games against the Man Cities, the United, because some of those games could be make or break for the club.
Yeah, I know Burton probably got quite a bit from... they conceded quite a bit, but I'm sure they wouldn't get... Owners probably going cha-ching.
Yeah, they're normal enough blokes who can say it, they've played against one of the greatest teams in Premier League history.
They did. They went into the changing rooms, didn't they, and asked for selfies with everyone. So it's good to see, obviously. They got to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup and only lost to Man City. That's not a bad thing to do. So, no, I did go for UK Cup, obviously. Scrap it. Exclude top six was second. Scrap it was third, and expand it. I don't quite understand expand it.
Expand it would maybe just be going to non-league, but then of course that's what the FA Cup's for. In hindsight, I would have changed that for keep it as it is.
Yeah, but UK Cup, winner by far, by a huge distance.
So moving on to question number 6, we have simply, what would you do with VAR? With the 4 options being keep it as it is, scrap it, change how it works, or in all capitals, just look at the screen.
Well, I think you can know what my answer is based on our conversation earlier in this podcast. Look at the screens. It's not hard. Just look at the screens.
Yes, see, I was thinking that, but I went with just change how it works, because I think, there is the screens that need to look at the screens. That's not even a question for me. But I think that there's certain just ways that it gets overused for things it doesn't need to be used for, and then it doesn't get used. And I could maybe see some kind of review system like they have in other sports, that you get 2 reviews or something, and it's down to the captain, or it's down to the manager, or it's down to whoever to say, we want to review this. Yeah, tennis have similar, cricket have similar. Yeah.
I see what you're saying with that, but I think one of the reasons why it's overused and everything like that is because the rules this year have been stupid. And I think if you're going to change how VAR works, I think you've got to change the rules.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's the reason it takes 3 to 4 minutes is because half of them are probably going, that's not a handball, and the other half are going, well, technically it is.
Yeah.
And obviously offside could probably be a bit speedier. I see what you're saying, but it's decisions like obviously what's happened, I think, affect the game more than that offside by a toe or everything like that. I think if Tottenham get that penalty, they're 1-0 up, that changes the game.
Yeah.
And if obviously, if Man United don't get that penalty and it's overturned, that then could make Aston Villa go, right, come on, that's a let off, let's fight on. I'm not saying obviously it would, but I think it changes the game more, and I just think if they just looked at the screens for those decisions, and going forward, if they just look at, I don't mean to quote this, the all caps option that we had, but if you just look at the screens, I think fans and everything would be you'd have more faith in the referee, I think, if they just went and looked at the screens and they owned up. going, oh, soz, that's not a pen, my bad. But yeah, look at the screens won quite comfortably on that one, didn't it?
Yeah, so that one with 46% of the vote. Change How It Works was second, with Scrap It third, and Keep It As It Is surprisingly got votes.
It's a mad person voted Keep It As It Is. Do you like watching people in pain and people get bored?
Do I be controversial and say, are they Liverpool fans? Or
I'll leave that up to Lauren. She wants to keep that.
Yeah, sorry.
This one, and I tell you this question, after this weekend, it swayed me a bit. Swayed me a bit. We asked quite simply, who should be England's number one? Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford. Elliot, who did you say?
So, for ages, I've been saying Dean Henderson, but I actually went with Nick Pope in the end. I just think Henderson has it for the next 10 years, but I think at this moment, Pope is on the form of his career. At the moment, he's looking like he's going to win the Golden Glove, most clean sheets in the season. And
at Burnley as well.
Burnley, yeah. And obviously, going to Anfield and only conceding one goal is an achievement this season.
And a phenomenal game, didn't he?
Yeah. And so for me, even though he's very vanilla, he's quite sort of boring. He's
kind of like David Seaman, though, in a way.
Yeah, he's not extravagant. Like, I know Henderson maybe has some camera saves every now and then. Obviously, Pickford scares the life out of anyone who's watching him.
Pickford dies for a shot that's going towards the corner flag.
Yes. But, yeah, Pope just does the job.
I was this close to voting Henderson.
Right.
And people can't see my fingers, but I tell you, they're close.
Very close.
Thank you, Elliot, for proof. It's so close. I also went with Nick Pope. And I think, really, you look on the back of last season as well, he got injured. I know he was injured for a lot.
Yeah.
But he was still... Nothing's kind of changed. He's still been that consistent. He's consistent, super consistent.
Yeah, and I can't think off the top of my head him making any mistakes this season that have led to any kind of goals.
No, and he's a big, I think
he's 6'6".
Yeah, and obviously Tom Heaton left for Villa.
Yes, yeah.
And then, Joe Hart is on the bench. But yeah, he's kept them out. He's kept them all out. He even kept Heaton out for a period of time, didn't he? Obviously, the only reason Heaton came is because he was injured. But I just think at this moment in time, I think if the Euros were, as when they were supposed to be, I think I would feel better with Pope in goal. I think Henderson's so close to me. Like, I can't tell you how close he is. Pickford, it's just, I can't. Today pretty much showed why I don't want Pickford in goal for England. It's like he went through his legs and he literally almost went over the line, and then he saved it and he looks up at the camera, sticks his tongue out and smiles. You're 2-0 down, for crying out loud. You're not even winning the game. You've made a mistake. You're 2-0 down, and then they go and concede another goal.
No, I know. And I'm sure Ancelotti is just... I'm sure he's had a go at him after the game, because that's kind of a lack of professionalism.
It's like,
do it 2-0 up.
Yeah, exactly. 2-0 up, you go, oh, whoops, but you've literally conceded 2 before that. You can't say, but yeah, Henderson, funny enough, did win that vote fairly comfortably, with Pope second and Pickford again, really last.
But yeah, I think Henderson's got it long term, but I think short term it's Pope.
Yeah.
So question number 8 was, should you be able to be called up to the England squad while playing in a smaller league, with the example we gave as the MLS? Now, what did you vote for, Sam?
See, I voted yes.
Okay.
So I voted yes because it's a difficult one, because you swayed me a little bit.
Right.
Or you almost swayed me with saying no. And it was what you said a while ago when we originally, even way before this podcast was even thought of, we were saying, oh, do you reckon if you play in the MLS, should you get an England call-up? Mm-hmm. And obviously we used Bradley Wright Phillips as an example, scoring goals for fun for New York Red Bulls. But when he was at Charlton, nothing. Yeah. He didn't do very well. And another example as well is, there's a couple of examples that almost swayed me to no. And obviously you've got that Joseph Martinez and Carlos Vela, who play in the MLS. Obviously, Joseph Martinez played for 76 games for Torino and scored 13 goals. Mm-hmm. He plays for Atalanta. He's played 100 games and scored 85 goals. Yeah. It's a stupid stat. And Vea's almost the same. But I still think there are still a lot of players out there that don't do well in the MLS. That are shocking. And not just the MLS. Obviously, you look at the Championship as well. I still think there are some players in the Championship that do deserve to get at least a call-up. I don't know what it is with just the Premier League. Because, like Cantwell for Norwich, for example, he the player that he was in the Premier League, he was that same player in the Championship. So why was he not being looked at in the Championship?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So I think, and obviously Henderson was incredible for Sheffield United in the Championship. And yeah, there was murmurs, but then he comes up to the Premier League and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh no, absolutely. But it's like, well, why are we not thinking of this in the Championship?
I think both Henderson and I want to say Angus Gunn at Norwich had trained with England during times in the Championship, but hadn't actually played or wasn't included in the squad. But see, I went for no because I thought,
Right.
particularly with the MLS as an example, you're not playing against some of the world's best players and you're not challenging yourself. So, and it's kind of unknown how good you're going to look against these players because you don't really know how good they are. But yeah, you've used the example Bradley Wright-Phillips. There's another one of Jermaine Defoe. He did well in the MLS, but I think a lot of players would have done well in the MLS, to be honest. And okay, with other leagues, for example, Championship or Scottish League, if you want to include that,
Yeah.
potentially there's more of an argument. But with the MLS, I think no, you can't. You've got to prove yourself in a higher division to be able to play for England.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That's interesting. It's always good to have a bit of a debate. Yeah. But yes, funny enough, won this by a mile.
Absolute
I
mile.
wasn't expecting that.
No, me neither.
I was expecting a lot of people to be like you said, maybe, obviously. No, but yeah, that got 88% of the votes was yes. So
Yeah, I was
it feels
quite
like everyone
surprised by
seems to kind of agree with me. No offense, just 'cause, better co-host. I'm joking. Cut that out. Wanted to make a very quick disclaimer on this. Obviously, we didn't tweet it, but we can only, if with Twitter polls, you can only include 4. So we had to cut a league out, and we cut the Dutch league out because of the other 4. I just think it doesn't quite cut it as quite, PSV Ajax, but I can't really think of too much more. So going forward, that's why we cut it out. But we asked, outside the Premier League, what is the most competitive major European league? Is it La Liga in Spain, Bundesliga of Germany, Serie A of Italy, or Ligue 1 of France? And obviously that's one I could have thought it was pretty much between Ligue 1 and the Dutch league, to be honest, which one we put in. But who did you put? I think I know what one you put.
So the wording of it, the most competitive, I chose the Serie A because, okay, Juve win it every year, but particularly more recently, Inter Milan, Lazio, Napoli, they've all kind of been up there and they've all had a title fight. Whereas La Liga, it's Barca or Real every year, and then Atletico's slightly behind, and then there's quite a significant drop off until you reach the likes of Seville or teams around that.
Right.
But just in terms of the wording of competitive, I've gone Serie A. But if it was about which league is best in terms of quality, I'd have gone La Liga. But I voted Serie A.
Right, okay. See, I've gone La Liga. Now, the reason I went with La Liga is, as well, when you think of competitive leagues, yeah, I get what you're saying about the Barcelona and the Real Madrid, and obviously Atletico are there and blah, blah, blah. But when you look at how competitive they are in European tournaments,
Yeah.
I tend to find the Spanish teams are very good. And not a lot of teams, like obviously Italian teams and English teams, when they come against the La Liga teams, they struggle. They can't really tend to break them down too well. So obviously that's the reason I went with La Liga. Is obviously I know the league itself, I may have, I've definitely Dominic Cummings this. I've twisted it for it to suit me, but that's as far as politics will go.
I'm quite surprised you went that political, to be honest.
I was going to say that's political from about like 2 months ago, but
Yeah.
I think I get what you're saying. Obviously, Atletico did win the league, I think, a few years ago, Simone, but yeah, competitively, when a English team comes across an Italian team or a team in Ligue 1 or, Bundesliga's close, but Bundesliga, obviously, they tend to struggle, but I've never seen them struggle more than against La Liga. So for me, I'd say that. So what I found quite interesting about the poll, though, no one put Bundesliga. They got 0%.
Yeah, I think
Ligue 1 got higher than Bundesliga.
I think they saw. Well, first of all, I'm presuming someone voted for Ligue 1 as a joke. But
We should just put PSG there as Ligue 1, shouldn't we?
But yeah, in terms of Bundesliga, I think people have read that as competitive, and Bayern Munich win it every year, and This feels like it's been the closest it's been to not being Bayern Munich for a while. And it was still Bayern Munich by quite a distance.
It's becoming more competitive.
Yeah.
Like Leipzig and Mönchengladbach were kind of around there and stuff. So, But no, La Liga won that one fairly comfortably.
Yeah.
Serie A second, obviously, as you said. Liga third with one person voted it. And then Bundesliga with no votes.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
So, yes, we end on probably the biggest debate in football. Two names, Messi, Ronaldo. Which one's better? Go for it, Sam.
You can't have a football discussion without that being a question. We just can't. You can't do it. I've gone Messi. I've had to go Messi. I think he is all round. Now, again, our opinions, and this doesn't mean we think Ronaldo is awful.
Yeah.
But if I was to build a team and I could only pick one of those, I'm picking Messi. He doesn't just get you goals, he gets you assists. He's got pace, he's dribbling. He can take on a whole team. Ronaldo can, his aerial ability, his strength, his speed, his skills are second to none. But I just think Messi for me, all round, I think is just that bit better.
So there's two reasons why I voted for Messi over Ronaldo. First of which is both obviously do extraordinary things on the football pitch, but with Ronaldo, you see how he does it. You know how he does it. It's just raw pace. It's raw power. Yeah, but with Messi, you find yourself speechless at times with what he can do with the ball at his feet. And the second of which is that I feel like Messi is more of a natural talent. He's just, to not be too sort of philosophical, he was put on the world to play football. Whereas Ronaldo is someone who has worked his socks off for his entire life to get as good as he possibly can.
And fair enough.
Yeah. But Messi just makes it look natural. Ronaldo, he's worked for it. You can tell he's got the body for it. He's about pace. He's about power. He's about everything like that. Everything work on and build up. Whereas Messi, you feel like he was probably doing step overs before he could walk.
I think you can train to be a Ronaldo, but I don't think you can train to be a Messi.
Yes,
and that's where I think it lies. And I agree with what you said there. He's just, Ronaldo is phenomenal, and as you said, his training and his work rate to get where he is today, you can't fault. But I just, every time you watch him, you just think Messi. You just think his 600th goal for Barcelona or 600th goal was a Panenka.
Yeah. But what gets me with Messi is his vision. Like how he picks passes. I've no idea. Like
that's it.
He has probably the best passing range of any player.
And set pieces as well.
Yeah. I think that free kick he scored against Liverpool in Champions League last season has got to be up there with one of his best. Phenomenal.
Messi did win that poll. Not hugely comfortably, if you know what I mean, but he won it enough. So 67%, didn't it?
63 to 37%.
63 to 37%. So
about 2/3.
But no, it's our opinion. So again, just a disclaimer: these are all our opinions.
Yes.
Don't come at us.
Please don't bully us.
You've got your own opinions. You do you. We won't.
If you've got your own opinions, tweet them to us at TO Gold Podcast on Twitter.
Generally, if you don't believe, if you didn't like what we said, or if you have a counter opinions, please let us know, because it'd be interesting. Obviously, we do the polls to see what people click, but it'd be interesting hearing some people's reasons. So yeah, if you've got some reasons, so if you don't like what I said or like what Elliot said, just tweet us. Tell us. We're all friends here. We're all big family. Right, so we come to the end of the podcast. Elliot, I failed you.
Oh.
I've tried so hard, but I could not find a news headline worthy of ending the podcast. I couldn't. I searched and I searched and I searched. And I tried and do something. Anything that might even make a headline that might even go, huh. I couldn't, not one. So I'm going to end with a pun. And I'm just going to end the podcast. I'm just going to say the pun and end the podcast.
Okay.
That's it. That's how we're going to end it this week. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high, and well, she looked surprised. So thank you for the end. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We have been through a goal. We are TO Gold Podcast on Twitter. Please give us a follow if you like what you hear, and hopefully that joke hasn't put you off. Subscribing. We are on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere you get your podcasts. And we'll see you in the next one. But I've been Sam.
I've been Elliot.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.